the new high-grade Canadian gold mine. It's very exciting to say that. This is our first presentation in front of a live crowd as a mine that is in commercial production. So, very exciting to be here. I make lots of forward-looking statements. It takes 2 entire slides to disclaim away my forward-looking statements. So it was great to have Peter up here, just the presentation before last, going through what Erdene has accomplished in the last little while. Love that story. I've been an investor for a long time. Madsen, similar, just sort of, 4, 5, 6 months ahead. So they are ramping up to reach their, consistent production. We just reached commercial production. We're still in the last bits of ramp up, right? You get to commercial production, and then there's the last bits of refining your process, making sure that you get all of your throughput every day. That's where we're at right now, but that's the culmination of a process that we've been in for 2.5 years at this asset. That process in 2025 included a bulk sample in sort of the first and second quarter. Bulk sample, really important. It validated that our approach to the Madsen mine works, that we can mine this thing effectively. So we restarted it in the middle of the year, and then we ramped up. And ramping up is about increasing access, increasing ventilation, increasing the number of people, making sure that the process is what it needs to be, and finishing some of those key projects that weren't yet in place when we restarted the mine. And so then, at the beginning of this year, the Madsen mine achieved commercial production. So we're operationally stable, and we've got the right amount going through the mill. Some improvements yet to come, but we're very excited to be here. And we're really excited that being here with a process that's understood and a team that's executing means that we can really put a bit more attention into what's next. So that is what I really want everyone to start wrapping their heads around. In the first half of this year, we're going to spend a lot of our time mining in 2 particular parts of the mine. One is called the 960. The reason that the 960 is so exciting for us, it's just big stopes, and all the development to get into them is done. So that's sort of like a reliable, chunky area that we're very happy to just be pulling lots of tons out of on a daily basis. And then the 447 zone, which is, we put a lot of results out from there in the first half of last year. We called it the high-grade South Austin lens. In the actual mine, it's called the 447. Really nice mineralization there. That is our first Red Lake jewelry box. The reason that Red Lake is worth the effort, and it takes effort to mine in Red Lake, the reason it's worth the effort is because these deposits have these particularly rich parts to them. 447 is our first jewelry box. We're getting into a second jewelry box in an area called 904. So in the next little while, you will see drill results from the 904. Watch out for those, because I think the market's going to enjoy being reminded why Red Lake is worth the effort. We'll also be putting out drill results from our other project, Rowan. I'll talk more about that in a little bit, a very exciting component. The deposit that's right adjacent to us that we're pulling into the mine plan called Fork. And this is just, there's a lot going on here this year. This timeline is a map to turning West Red Lake into a Red Lake production hub, where 2.5 years from now, we will double the ounce production that we're at right now. There's very, very few producers out there who can say that they're going to double their production during this gold bull market. In fact, I just had Raymond James run the numbers yesterday, and there's only 8 companies out there who will increase production by at least 60% in the next 3 years. When investors look for leverage in a gold bull market, production growth is one of the levers that they like to pull. Very few companies on that list, and West Red Lake has concrete plans to double production by the time we get into 2028, and I think that's a really important note to hold on to. This is, of course, the big picture reason why we're here. I say people are looking for growth. This is evidence that is what happens. The GDX, these are nice numbers, let's be honest. The GDX is up really nicely, the GDXJ is up really nicely, but new and growing gold miners, or those with organic growth, are up more. That's the category that we just joined. We're very excited to be there, and we think that there's a lot more opportunity for us to grow in that category. Not going to spend a lot of time on this, because I think this audience is fairly familiar with this story, but we got here by buying an asset that failed 3.5 years ago, reimagining it, re-engineering it, and bringing it to production responsibly. And we did that as a contrarian move. We bought this mine when gold was worth only $1,900. We wanted to be a new and growing gold miner in a rising market, and thankfully the market is definitely playing along with that. I say we brought it back to production responsibly. Integral in that is the technical approach to mining this deposit. Red Lake has a lot of gold, and it's really high grade in places, but it's not easy, continuous, homogeneous. You have to do a lot of drilling, and then you have to engineer and mine appropriately if you want to succeed at mining it. That's the technical approach that we brought to Madsen. We're very comfortable that our geology mining feedback loop is robust, and therefore we are mining the right rocks. Now, if you want to look at, okay, this is a new high-grade gold miner that just reached commercial production, our share price is moving, what might the market value West Red Lake at? Well, people will often go start that calculation with the technical study that's out there, and for us, that's our pre-feasibility study that we put out 14 months ago. Ironically, 14 months is not that long, but that pre-feasibility study is pretty out of date in terms of capturing what we're doing. And the main reason is that you start that study in the middle of 2024, and it uses a 3-year trailing gold price, so it did a mine design using $1,700 gold, right? A reserve at $1,700 gold. That developed a mine plan that only took the very highest grade bits out of the Madsen mine, left the rest of the deposit behind. It still worked. It was still an economic mine plan. It's still absolutely the reason that we restarted the Madsen mine. But the way that we're mining at Madsen today is not on a $1,700 per ounce mine plan. It is, we do our final mine design at $2,600 at the mine site. And that creates the kind of difference that you can see. That blue image on the right, this is just one area of the mine, but that's what the stopes look like in the pre-feasibility version, in the low gold price mine design. Then you do more drilling. You often find more high grade when you do more drilling because these high grade lenses in Red Lake are pretty narrow and you can miss them when your holes are still 20 meters apart. You find more gold, you do a mine design at a more appropriate gold price, and you get a more efficient mine that mines more of the resource. So this is a really important difference maker. We will incorporate that into a new pre-feasibility study that we're going to put out in the middle of this year. Also in that new study, really importantly, we're going to add Fork, which is a deposit right beside the Madsen mine. Hasn't been mined before, easy to mine. We're going to pull that into the mine plan, and we're going to bring Rowan in. Rowan's our other project, 30 kilometers as the crow flies. Crows can fly over large lakes, which trucks can't do, so it's 80 kilometers by road to go around. But 40-ton trucks, 400 tons a day, we can bring that mineralization to the Madsen mill where we have 400 tons per day of additional capacity. We expect to push Rowan into production to be producing there in 2028. Those two things together, add Fork, do the real mine plan at Madsen, and bring Rowan online, that's how we turn ourselves into a Red Lake production hub of scale, tapping into really high-grade mineralization. Rowan is a very exciting project where we think we're going to be able to demonstrate a lot of upside over the next little while. There's a lot more to find at Madsen. When I say it's nice to be executing the plan and therefore able to think a lot about where we can find more, the deeper we go on this thing, the less it's been drilled, the less it's been mined. Less mining means the eyes haven't been picked out, the best stuff is still there. Less drilling just means there's more opportunity to find those really high-grade bits. We're experiencing that now. We're really excited about getting deep on this thing now that we've successfully brought it into production. So those are the considerations that I suggest you have in mind when you think about how to value or how the market might value West Red Lake going forward. Sorry to skip through quickly. Share structure, this is our share structure. I will comment very briefly on warrants because there's a bunch of them and everybody wants to talk about them. We do have a lot of warrants. None of them are acceleratable or incentivizable. They are all just there until people decide to exercise them. There are 42 million of them at $1 that expire in May, and we're trading at $1.38 today. So if we get $42 million in the bank, I suggest we would probably put that towards paying down debt. which helps free cash flow, which I think is a good way is one of the ways that the market will value gold miners going forward. Happy to talk about all of that in more detail at our booth, which is just out the doors. Thank you so much.